Hey guys, Marsegid here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so I've been away for a couple of days over the weekend, and of course, typically whilst being away, loads of interesting information has come out. I'm sure most of you guys will have seen it by now, but I kind of just wanted to talk about it more so as to give my thoughts on the situation, obviously, as opposed to you know, this actually being breaking news, because as I said, I'm sure most of you guys know about this by now, especially if you've logged into the game since Monday morning. But we did get an update in the game with part 2 of the celebration currently ongoing on Global, and there's some interesting things in here. A little bit disappointing to see that we did still end up getting this filler banner. This usually happens at at this point every year, but obviously, it's a bit of a shame because they could have used this opportunity to pad out, you know, some more content that we didn't have already, something from JP. Although, of course, as we get into the later part of the video, we are actually getting something like that. But in terms of a banner, I mean, this obviously is just absolute bait. I know it has tickets and it has a very interesting format where you get you can like trade in characters for tickets. I saw somebody talking about it on Twitter, but like, don't touch this banner, right? It's, you know, it's already hard enough that we had like Saiyan Day, Goku and Hirudegarn, like these bait banners right before the anniversary. We have Golden Week, which based on last year, like the banner for Golden Week came out in like 12 days time if we go by last year. So pretty obvious, like, don't touch this banner, right? And then we had a few extra sales. And then we got the chain battle start, which we all knew about, the final chain battle. We finally saw the confirmation of the LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA. For some reason, this took a lot longer to come out as part of this celebration than it did on JP. JP, the LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA, came out exactly 1 week after the Tech Tapion one, which of course came out last Monday, so over a week ago now. And for some reason, this has been pushed back until the end of this week, which is a little bit strange considering what else is going on Friday. But we're going to talk about all of that, of course. But the big surprise was this, the Special Pose category Dokkan Festival. So this is the banner that has only just come out on JP that features the Int Super Saiyan, well, he's not Super Saiyan 3 to start with, obviously, but the Int Gotenks and the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. And the reason for this banner coming out on JP was obviously the Int Gotenks got his EZA, but then the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks Super EZA has just been announced as well. So very, very interesting. And then, of course, as we scroll a little bit further down in the news, we have the confirmation of the actual Extreme Z battle for Super Saiyan 3 Goku, which of course we knew because the Extreme Z banner is there. But we are getting the Extreme Z battle for the Int Gotenks as well. So bear in mind, like, this is the most recent Dokkan Festi EZA on JP, which has only just come out as the later part of the Topo celebration and is now coming out on Global as well on Friday. Now, what's very interesting about them making this choice to release this stuff on Friday is that the World Tournament starts on Friday at the same time. So the World Tournament, Friday the 19th, 7:30 in the morning UK time, and the Extreme Z battles Friday 7:30 AM UK time. So for anyone who was wanting to jump straight in and start grinding the World Tournament, all of this stuff comes out at the same time. So I'll be doing another big World Tournament weekend set of streams, but essentially this means I'm going to have to start the stream on Friday a little bit later, because once we actually get to 7:30 in the morning, I'm just going to have to get these Extreme Z battles done as quickly as possible, so then we can record like the showcases for these guys and everything. And then have those scheduled to go up throughout the day whilst we are then doing the big World Tournament stream. So I think it's very weird, and we've talked about this many times in the past, the way Dokkan doesn't like drip feed content and it just drops everything all at the same time. Like, why do these not drop on like Thursday morning, right? And then the World Tournament starts on Friday morning. Very, very strange to have these dropping at the exact same time that the World Tournament starts. We've already talked about many times in the past, right, how the World Tournament, you know, is a game mode that is unlike anything else in the game, where it requires a huge amount of time investment if you want to finish in some of these higher ranking placements. And so then the fact that they're dropping other content at the same time, especially a 30-stage EZA, which, you know, we all know how much we love 30-stage EZAs. These can take about an hour to complete. Sometimes depending on the team, depending on how much HP the boss has for that particular one, because some, for some reason, are more tanky than others. And then obviously the LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku one, that's not as bad, being only the 10 stages. But if you're going to do these both together, this is over an hour and a half worth of content here before the World Tournament like grind can begin, and they start at the same time. So I think that is very, very odd. And then obviously we have all the World Tournament stuff, new stage of Super Battle Road, all that kind of stuff. Something about the Dokkan? Oh, it's just Dokkan events returning. It was just because it was cut off by the bottom of the page. I was like, why is the Janemba event coming back? But it's just cut off at the bottom. So yeah, very interesting that these are now coming to global. I don't think this one quite fits on the page. It cuts off some of it, but the important ones are obviously Gotenks and Goku. You can see the countdown here, obviously the World Tournament stuff all coming out at the same time. So if we take a look at the wiki here, we obviously know LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku. We'll have the team building guide coming out for him. Very interesting, of course, Super Saiyan 3 getting a bunch of buffs now, all at the same time, because we have the LR EZA for this guy. When I saw his EZA details on JP, and I do have a showcase up on the channel, right, like a private server showcase from when it was first coming out on JP, I was very, very impressed by his initial performance. But of course he got his EZA before the release of all the big anniversary content, and whilst he can still be decent in some of it, his biggest issue is going to be the fact that he has this 50% damage reduction, but only before performing an Ultra Super. So once you've performed an Ultra Super, his like raw defense for the turn is not crazy high, to the point where I think we were using him in like a random challenge run on a stream, and I completely underestimated, like he took damage from normals from some of these tougher anniversary bosses. So that is something to consider with this guy, but he's going to be a very fun unit to use. The only downside being, of course, you know, him being just Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So that means that he has the same name as the AGL Super EZA and the most recent released STR Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Goku on Global, which unfortunately, like, one of his better teams would be the Super Saiyan 3 Goku Dragon Fist team, and that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a slot 2 unit. This guy is ideally a slot 2 or 3 unit, so they are competing for a spot on the rotation, and then if they end up next to each other, they don't link at all, which is a little bit unfortunate because this guy is very good. But I know a lot of people didn't summon for Goku or Harudagan because you've got the AGL Super EZA Goku. This guy's coming out as well. So we'll try him out in a bunch of different scenarios, and be interesting to see as we start to get new content, whether it is for Golden Week or when the anniversary finally comes to Global. We'll try him out in a bunch of those events and see how well he does. And then, of course, we have the Int Gotenks. So we did talk about this guy's details when they dropped, when he came out on JP, but now he is coming to Global. So this is actually very exciting because I think I called the video where we talked about his details, the fact that he is like Kefla level. And remember that Global compared to JP actually has these crazy teams where we can use, like, you know, I think it's like the new Saiyan Day Vegeta, right, with his Super Saiyans leader skill, or just the Dokkan Fest Super Saiyans from the, or sorry, Carnival LR Super Saiyans from the end of last year. We can run units like the Kefla and the Gotenks on the same team, and they actually do share a decent amount of links. So they're certainly going to be very, very interesting. This guy's a special pose and youth leader for a full 170. He gives 4 key to special pose, 3 key to youth. In base, he raises attack for 1 turn, greatly raises defense for 3 turns. So if you can get a couple of additionals in his base turn, those will carry over to the next turn, even though he's then going to transform straight away, which is really good. He gets a high chance to launch an additional attack, has a high chance to dodge. He gets plus 10% within the same turn after evading attack, chance to dodge, additional defense 50% when performing a super from 1 turn, which is, you know, he's only in this form for 1 turn. Then he transforms straight away into the Super Saiyan Gotenks, and this is what he'll be like for a few turns here, right? So he is greatly raising defense for 4 turns on Super. And he has a bunch of built-in additionals in his passive. So he has the potential to have very, very high raw defense after supering. And then he has a great chance to launch an additional super and a high chance to dodge. And then he gets chance to dodge plus 20% within the same turn after evading an attack. and then a high chance of recovering 30% HP starting from the 4th turn. So he just has a chance to recover HP at the start of the turn, which can be really useful for other units on the team in terms of active skills and things like that. So definitely can be very, very good. And then of course, just like before, pre-EZA, you know, when he first came out, once you bust out the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, this guy can go absolutely crazy, right? Attack and defense 300%, additional 100% attack and a high chance to crit when performing a super. Then he gets an additional super guaranteed and has a great chance to dodge guaranteed. So these are the kind of things that like Kefla is doing if you get a certain number of orbs. Now, Kefla can actually hit higher numbers than Gotenks, and I think has slightly higher raw defense, but his dodge and additional super are unrestricted, so he will be very, very good and very powerful. And yeah, having both of those guys on the same team, because remember, like JP has this guy, but they don't have Kefla yet, so the Super Saiyans team on Global is pretty crazy. And because they're both in different forms, right, this guy goes all the way up to 3, Kefla goes up to 2, that means they're on teams like Power Beyond Super Saiyan as well, which has gotten some pretty crazy buffs recently as well. Now, the interesting thing about all of this is how does this affect Toppo's celebration? Because if we take a look at the timeline for Global, this is from last year. This is where the anniversary ended, right? And we got the 5-year LR EZAs, and we got the 8th anniversary battle. And then we got Kale, who released in the time slot that Toppo has released in now on JP. So we got the bits that came with her celebration. It wasn't much, right? Because she didn't have a proper Part 2 LR. That was Super Boo, who came out before the anniversary for Global. We had the EZA for the LR, Kale, and Caulifla. And then we pretty much started moving into the worldwide download celebration stuff, like right after that. So the interesting thing to wonder is, what exactly is Global going to get? Are we just getting the Int Gotenks EZA? Are we going to get any of those sub-EZAs? Is Global going to get the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks Super EZA? I'm going to do a separate video talking about that, but that means a lot of the content is going to be removed from the Toppo celebration. And I've seen a few people, Minato included, so I'm sure we'll talk about this on the next episode of the Slot 1 Super podcast on Friday, about the possibility that Global just doesn't even get the Toppo celebration, right? And Toppo is just added onto some other banner. Maybe in this time slot here before the worldwide, Global just gets some kind of catch-up banner, which is something we've talked about a bit in the past. Because if they're picking out other bits of his celebration and then just dropping them in to Global, right? Because we're in part 2 of what is essentially just the Goku and Hirudegarn celebration. And whilst we've missed stuff like the Movie Bosses 2 Red Zone, we're now just getting stuff put in that is the stuff that's coming out currently on JP, which is very interesting. We all knew the sync and the build up to the sync would be a bit strange in terms of how they would do it. But this is kind of an interesting thing, right? Like the filler summon banner I think is pointless, I said at the beginning. It's weird that we didn't get the Movie Bosses Red Zone 2 first lot of stages, and also a shame because it's at least new stages to play and try out units and teams. But now we're also getting stuff that's only just coming out on JP, now coming out on Global. Because as you can see, the difference is 10 days. Which I also think is weird. It's kind of like when they brought the Gammas out like a week later on Global. It's like, if you're going to wait 10 days, why not just bring them out at the same time? Which I think is kind of a strange choice as well. But I guess we will have to wait and see. The Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks Super EZA is going to be coming out soon for JP. We don't have confirmation yet whether that will be coming to Global as well, as at least at the time of recording. But he is featured on that banner that is going to be coming out. So very, very interesting indeed. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. Are you excited for the Gotenks EZA? We definitely will try out a bunch of teams, especially him and Kefla together. That Vegeta Super Saiyans team is just becoming more and more crazy, with him being such a good slot 1 unit, and then all of these EZAs coming out that can just go absolutely crazy, like in slot 2 or 3. That team is going to be very, very powerful for Global and very fun to use once all the anniversary content comes to the game in July. So let me know all your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.